Hello everyone! Welcome back to Mind Pop English. I am Emily, your host for today. If you are new here, I would like to tell you that we upload a new English learning video every day on our channel to help you improve your English faster. Welcome to this English fluency journey. If you've ever felt nervous about speaking English, or if you've ever wanted to join a conversation but didn't know what to say, you are not alone. Many learners around the world share that same feeling. But here's the good news: you can overcome it. And today we'll start that transformation together. The goal of this lesson is simple: to help you move from a B1 level to a C2 level of English fluency step by step, using real-life examples and natural expressions that you can start using immediately. Take a deep breath and relax. Learning English doesn't have to feel stressful or complicated. Think of it as a journey one where every single word you learn brings you closer to confidence. In this lesson, you won't just listen. You'll speak, repeat, and practice as if you're having a real conversation. By the end, you'll notice your English sounds smoother, clearer, and more natural. Let's begin with the foundation of fluency vocabulary. Vocabulary is like the bricks that build your communication. Without it, your ideas have no structure. At the B1 level, most learners can talk about everyday topics like work, family, or hobbies. You can say things like, "I am tired," or "I like this movie." These are correct, but basic. To reach zwei fluency, you must learn to expand simple sentences into more expressive, powerful forms. For example, instead of saying, "I am tired today because I worked a lot," you could say, "I'm exhausted after such a demanding day at work," or even, "I feel drained after handling so many challenging tasks today." Notice how these versions sound more expressive and natural. Each one communicates emotion and gives depth to your message. Now let's practice this together. I'll give you a basic sentence, and you'll transform it into something more advanced. The first one: the food was good. Try saying, "The food was delicious," or "The meal was absolutely delightful," or even "The flavors were exquisite and every bite felt satisfying." Each version upgrades your vocabulary, rhythm, and tone. Let's try another one. "I don't like this movie." You could say, "This movie doesn't appeal to me," or "The storyline failed to capture my attention." Each sentence shows emotion and sophistication. Repeat these examples aloud. Feel how your pronunciation and flow improve when you speak confidently. Now let's talk about connectors, the small but powerful words that make your speech smooth. At B1, many learners rely on basic connectors like and, but, or because. At C2, you'll use advanced ones such as although, nevertheless, moreover, and consequently. These words are like bridges connecting your ideas naturally. For example, instead of saying, "I wanted to go out, but it was raining," try, "Although I wanted to go out, the heavy rain kept me indoors. Or, I wanted to go out. Nevertheless, the weather forced me to stay inside. Can you hear how polished that sounds? These small words make a big difference. Let's practice. Start with, I stayed home because I was tired. Now, upgrade it. I decided to stay home since I was feeling exhausted. Or, I stayed home as I was completely worn out after work. And for an even more advanced version, I remained at home, for fatigue had overwhelmed me by the end of the day. Every version raises the level of your English one step higher. Another crucial aspect of fluency is confidence. Many learners at the B1 level hesitate to speak because they're afraid of making mistakes. But confidence is what truly unlocks your fluency. The truth is, mistakes are not your enemy, they are your teachers. Every time you use a new word incorrectly, you learn how to use it correctly next time. Each mistake moves you forward. So from now on, I want you to practice loudly without fear. Speak English daily. Record your voice. Shadow native speakers. Repeat sentences until they sound natural. The more you practice, the more automatic your English becomes. Let's do a short daily life exercise. Imagine you had a long day at work or school. At B1, you might say, my day was busy. But at C2, you could say, my day was incredibly demanding, filled with non-stop activities. Or, today was overwhelming, with back-to-back responsibilities that left me little time to rest. Another version could be, it was a hectic day packed with challenging tasks that required constant focus. Now repeat one of these aloud. Feel how the advanced sentences sound full and dynamic. When you use descriptive language, you don't just tell someone what happened, you make them feel it. Next, let's talk about rhythm and tone, because fluency is not just about words. It's also about how you say them. Many learners speak word by word, which breaks the natural flow. Instead, try speaking in chunks groups of words that belong together. For example, instead of saying each word separately, like, I went to the store, say it as a connected thought. I went to the store, and for a longer sentence, I went to the store to pick up some essentials before dinner. Feel how smooth and natural it becomes when you connect words together. This kind of rhythm comes from shadowing practice, listening to a native speaker, and repeating exactly what they say with the same tone and timing. Shadowing trains your brain and tongue to work together, helping you speak naturally without pausing to think about grammar or vocabulary. Let's try a quick rhythm practice. Repeat this sentence naturally. I went to the park yesterday afternoon, and I had a wonderful time walking among the trees. Don't stop between words. Let the sentence flow like music. Every time you practice this way, you're not just learning English, you're training your voice, your confidence, and your fluency. Step by step, your speaking will become smoother, your pronunciation clearer, and your expression more natural. In this first part, we focused on the foundation vocabulary, connectors, confidence, and rhythm. These are your building blocks. In the next part, we'll go deeper into expressing emotions, describing experiences vividly, and using idioms and collocations that make you sound like a natural speaker. Take a moment now to repeat some of your favorite advanced sentences from today's practice. Speak them confidently. Remember, fluency doesn't happen overnight, but with every repetition, you are getting closer. Take a deep breath, smile, and say to yourself, I am improving, because you are. Now that you've built a strong foundation with vocabulary, connectors, and rhythm, let's take the next step, learning how to describe your thoughts, feelings, and experiences with precision and emotion. This is what truly separates intermediate learners from advanced speakers. Fluency is not just about being correct. It's about expressing yourself naturally, clearly, and vividly. Let's start with descriptive language. At the B1 level, many learners use simple sentences like, the weather is nice, or my room is small. These are fine, but they don't create a picture in the listener's mind. At the C2 level, you must learn to make your English more visual and emotional. You can say, the weather today is pleasantly warm, with a gentle breeze that makes it comfortable to walk outside. Or, the air feels crisp and fresh, and the sunlight is perfectly balanced. Do you feel the difference? These sentences don't just describe, they paint a picture. Advanced English should help the listener see what you mean, not just hear it. Let's practice this together. The basic sentence. My room is small. You can say, my room is compact but cozy, with enough space for everything I need. Or, though the room is modest in size, it feels warm and inviting because of its simple design. Another version could be, it may be small, but it has a charming atmosphere that makes me feel comfortable every time I step inside. Repeat one of these sentences aloud and imagine your own room as you say it. Connecting words to your real life will help you remember them longer. Next, let's focus on idioms and expressions, which are essential for sounding natural and fluent. At the B1 level, learners often use plain, literal words like, I am very tired, or it's easy. But at C2, native speakers use idioms and phrasal verbs to express the same ideas more naturally. For example, instead of I am very tired, you can say, I'm worn out, or I'm completely drained. Instead of it's easy, say, it's a piece of cake. Instead of I don't understand, you could say, I can't make sense of it. Let's practice with a few idioms. Repeat after me. After working for 8 hours, I was completely wiped out. Understanding advanced grammar can feel like climbing a mountain at first, but it becomes easier with practice. I was over the moon when I passed my exam. Each of these expressions adds color and emotion to your English. The more idioms you know, the closer you'll sound to a native speaker. Try making your own sentences using worn out, over the moon, or a piece of cake. Another way to sound advanced is by using synonyms, different words with similar meanings that carry unique emotional tones. For example, Instead of always saying happy, you can say joyful, delighted, thrilled, ecstatic, content, or pleased. Each of these words shows a slightly different type of happiness. Let's practice with a few. Repeat after me. I was delighted to meet her after such a long time. He felt content after finishing his project successfully. She was ecstatic when she heard the good news. Now, think of 3 moments in your life when you felt happy. Choose the most accurate word for each one. Was it joy, excitement, relief, satisfaction? This small exercise helps you internalize emotional vocabulary naturally. Another advanced skill is paraphrasing, explaining something in another way. When you forget a word, this is a secret weapon for fluency. At B1, many learners pause when they forget a word, but at C2, you can keep speaking smoothly. For example, if you forget the word restaurant, you can say, a place where people go to eat. If you forget expensive, say, it costs a lot of money. Or if you forget shy, say, someone who feels nervous when talking to others. Let's practice. Imagine you forget the word library. How could you explain it? You might say, the place where people borrow books. That's paraphrasing. You're still communicating clearly without stopping your flow. Paraphrasing builds confidence and keeps your English alive in real conversations. It also trains your brain to think in English instead of translating from your native language. Now, let's move to register the ability to adjust your language for different situations. At B1, learners often use the same tone everywhere, but at C2, you must know when to sound formal, casual, or neutral. For example, with a friend, you might say, hey, want to grab dinner tonight? But in a professional email, you would say, would you like to join me for dinner this evening? Both mean the same thing, but one is casual and one is formal. Let's practice. Repeat after me. Want to hang out later? Informal. Would you like to meet this afternoon? Neutral. It would be a pleasure to meet you later today. Formal. Each version fits a different situation. Learning this flexibility is what makes you sound natural and socially intelligent in English. Next, let's talk about grammar range. At the B1 level, most learners use basic tenses present, past, and future. But at C2, you can switch between different tenses to show time, emotion, and perspective. Let's take this sentence. I studied English last year. That's fine, but it's basic. Now try these advanced versions. I was studying English throughout last year, focusing on pronunciation. I had been studying English for several months before. I joined an advanced course. I have studied English continuously since last year, and it has completely transformed the way I communicate. Do you see how each version gives more detail and depth? Advanced English uses grammar to express nuance, not just correctness. Now, let's go one step further, conditional sentences. At the B1 level, you might say, if it rains, I will stay home. At C2, you can use more advanced forms to express imagination or regret. If I had studied harder, I would have passed the exam. If I were more confident, I would speak in front of large audiences. Let's practice a few together. Repeat after me. If I had woken up earlier, I wouldn't have missed the bus. If I were living in London right now, I would be practicing English every day. If I had taken that opportunity, my life would look completely different. Each sentence expresses time, condition, and emotion all in one. This is what fluency truly means. Finally, let's end this part with a powerful truth. Moving from B1 to C2 is not just about knowing more grammar or vocabulary, it's about thinking in English. When you start to describe, imagine, and express your thoughts directly in English, your mind stops translating and starts creating. Here's your mini challenge. For the next 24 hours, describe everything around you in English. What you see, what you feel, what you plan to do. Speak quietly to yourself or record short notes on your phone. Every small practice counts. Step by step, your English will move from mechanical to natural, from textbook to fluent. In the next part, we'll focus on storytelling, rhythm, emotion, and advanced expressions that help you speak beautifully and naturally like a C2 speaker. Now that you've learned how to use advanced vocabulary, idioms, and grammar, it's time to build one of the most powerful skills of fluency: storytelling. Storytelling is what makes your English come alive. It allows you to share your experiences, connect emotionally with others, and sound natural and confident in conversation. At the B1 level, most learners tell stories using short, simple sentences. Yesterday, I went to the park. I met my friend. We talked. Then I went home. This is correct, but it sounds mechanical and lacks emotion. At the C2 level, you need to make your stories flow like real conversations. Add time expressions, emotions, and descriptive details to paint a picture in the listener's mind. Let's upgrade that same story. Yesterday afternoon, I met an old friend at the park by chance. We ended up talking for hours about our lives, and before we knew it, the sun was setting, painting the sky in beautiful shades of orange and pink. Do you hear the difference? The story now has movement, rhythm, and emotion. Let's practice another example. The simple sentence, I cooked dinner last night. The advanced version. Last night, I prepared a homemade dinner with fresh ingredients, and the aroma filled the entire kitchen as I cooked. Or you could say, after a long day, I decided to cook a warm, comforting meal, and surprisingly, the process of chopping vegetables and stirring the pot felt relaxing. Each version adds color, sound, and feeling. When you tell stories, focus on 3 key elements: time, feeling, and detail. Time shows when things happen, feeling shows emotion, and detail makes the listener see the picture in their mind. Let's practice together. Think about something simple that happened recently, maybe a trip, a meal, or a conversation. First, describe it in one simple sentence. Then, add details about when, how, and how you felt. Practice expanding the story until it sounds full and expressive. Another key skill for C2 fluency is expressing opinions with emotion and explanation. At the B1 level, you might say, I like this book. That's fine, but too short. At the advanced level, you can say, I truly enjoyed this book because the author captured emotions in such a realistic way, or I found this novel deeply moving. The characters felt so real that I almost forgot they weren't. Now it's your turn. Think of a movie or song you like. Don't just say, I liked it. Say why you liked it. For example, I loved that movie because it reminded me how powerful kindness can be, or I enjoyed the song because the lyrics were inspiring and gave me energy. Adding reasons and emotions is the difference between intermediate and advanced English. Let's move to another vital skill, polite disagreement and softening opinions. At B1, you might say, you're wrong, or I don't agree. But in English, especially in professional or social situations, polite disagreement shows maturity and respect. For example, instead of you're wrong, say, I see your point, but I'm not entirely convinced. Or, that's an interesting perspective, though I would look at it differently. You can also say, I understand where you're coming from, but I'm not sure I completely agree. Let's practice a few examples together. Repeat after me. I respect your opinion, but I would like to offer a different point of view. You raise a valid concern. However, I believe there might be another solution. That's certainly a good idea, although I wonder if we should also consider other possibilities. Do you notice how polite yet confident these sound? That's the tone of a fluent, advanced speaker. Next, let's focus on phrasal verbs and collocations, two essential parts of natural English. At the B1 level, you may know basic phrasal verbs like wake up, sit down, or turn off. At C2, you must use more advanced ones, like bring up, come across, run out of, or carry on with. Let's practice. During the meeting, she brought up an important issue we had all overlooked. I came across an interesting article while browsing online. We ran out of milk this morning, so I had to go to the store. Now, for collocations, which are words that naturally go together, like make a decision, heavy rain, or deeply concerned, native speakers use these combinations automatically. Let's practice. He made a quick decision after hearing all the facts. I was deeply concerned about her health. The explanation was crystal clear, and everyone understood it immediately. By practicing these every day, you'll start to sound natural without even thinking. Now let's move to another advanced area. Abstract language. Many B1 learners only use concrete ideas, like I like dogs, or I want a new phone. But at the C2 level, you can talk about abstract concepts such as freedom, success, or happiness. For example, instead of saying, I like learning English, you could say, for me, learning English represents a path to connection and growth. Instead of I want money, say, financial independence gives me the freedom to make choices and live with dignity. See how these sentences express deeper meaning? Advanced speakers Use language to connect ideas, not just describe things. Let's practice a few together. Repeat after me. I believe success is not about wealth, but about continuous growth. To me, friendship represents trust, loyalty, and understanding. Learning a new language opens doors to freedom and opportunity. These abstract sentences show that your English can express complex ideas, not just simple facts. Now, let's take a step into creativity with metaphors, a powerful tool used by native speakers to make language poetic and memorable. Instead of saying, "He's very busy," say, "He has a lot on his plate." Instead of, "She's nervous," say, "She has butterflies in her stomach." Instead of, "He's smart," say, "He's as sharp as a knife." Let's try a few. Learning a language is like planting a tree. It takes time, care, and patience, but it grows strong. Her smile was like sunshine that warmed everyone around her. Life is a journey, and every challenge is just another step along the path. Practice creating your own metaphors. Maybe, "My mind is a sponge when I study," or "Confidence is a muscle. The more I use it, the stronger it gets." Creative expressions like these make your English unique and memorable. Now, let's talk about emphasis and subtlety. Two sides of advanced fluency. Sometimes you want to sound strong, other times gentle. Instead of always using very, you can say extremely, absolutely, utterly, or incredibly. For softer tones, use slightly, somewhat, fairly, or kind of. Let's practice. This is absolutely essential if you want to succeed. I was utterly shocked by what I saw. The movie was somewhat disappointing, though still enjoyable. I felt slightly nervous before the interview, but it quickly passed. Being able to choose the right level of intensity makes your English precise and expressive. Finally, let's end this part with rhetorical questions, a technique that makes your speech engaging and natural. Instead of just saying facts, ask questions that make listeners think. For example, "Isn't it fascinating how quickly technology changes our lives? Don't we all wish we had more time to do the things we love? Who wouldn't want to sound confident and fluent in another language?" Rhetorical questions make your speech sound confident and conversational. Try using one the next time you speak English. Before we move on, here's a short exercise for you. Choose a topic you enjoy, maybe travel, books, or food. Tell a 1-minute story in English. Use at least one advanced connector, one idiom, and one emotional expression. Don't worry about mistakes. The goal is to keep speaking without stopping. Every time you practice like this, your fluency grows. In the next part, we'll go deeper into sentence structure, advanced grammar control, and ways to sound persuasive and natural in conversation. You've now built a strong foundation in storytelling, idioms, and emotional expression. In this part, we'll focus on how to use advanced grammar, structures, and sentence patterns to sound persuasive, confident, and natural the way fluent English speakers do. We'll also explore how to express cause and effect, contrast, and opinions with more precision. At the B1 level, learners often rely on simple sentence structures like subject, verb, object. I like this idea. She works hard. He studies English. But at the C2 level, fluent speakers rearrange sentence parts to create rhythm, emphasis, and variety. They don't just speak correctly, they speak with style. Let's take a simple sentence. I like this idea. You can transform it in many ways to add emphasis. What I really like about this idea is its simplicity. This idea, I must say, appeals to me the most. It is the creativity of this idea that makes it stand out. Each sentence highlights a different part of the message. That's called sentence emphasis, and it helps you control the focus of your message. Let's practice a few together. Repeat after me. What inspires me the most is your determination to keep improving. It was the kindness in her words that comforted me. What makes this place unforgettable is the warmth of its people. Notice how these sentences sound more expressive and natural. You can use this technique in daily conversations, presentations, or storytelling. Now let's move to reported speech, another feature of advanced grammar. At the B1 level, learners usually quote people directly. She said, I am tired. But at the C2 level, you need to use reported speech smoothly. It makes your speaking and writing sound more professional. Here's how it works. Instead of, she said, I am tired, you say, she said that she was tired. Instead of, he said, I will call you tomorrow, you say, he said that he would call me the next day. Let's practice together. Direct. They said, we are leaving now. Reported. They told me they were leaving at that moment. Another one. Direct. She said, I can help you. Reported. She said that she could help me. Repeat these examples until the structure feels natural. Reported speech helps you tell stories and share information fluently without sounding repetitive. Now, let's move on to one of the most important skills for advanced speakers, persuasive communication. At B1, many learners simply state opinions like, I think English is important. That's fine. But at C2, you need to support your ideas with reasons, evidence, or examples. For instance, instead of, I think learning English is good, you could say, I strongly believe that learning English is essential because it opens doors to education, career opportunities, and global communication. Or, in my view, English fluency is not just about speaking well. It's about connecting with people from all around the world. Let's practice. Repeat after me. In my opinion, daily practice is far more effective than studying once in a while. I believe technology has made learning English more accessible than ever before. There is no doubt that consistent practice is the key to mastering English. Each of these sentences sounds confident and convincing. Try to use this structure whenever you share your opinions. Now let's practice cause and effect, one of the building blocks of advanced communication. At B1, you might say, I didn't sleep well, so I'm tired. That's fine, but simple. At C2, you can express the same idea in more polished ways. Here are some examples. Due to a restless night, I'm feeling exhausted today. As a result of staying up late, I found it difficult to focus in class. Owing to the heavy traffic, I arrived later than expected. Let's practice aloud. As a consequence of poor planning, the project faced serious delays. Owing to his dedication, he achieved remarkable success. Because of the sudden rain, the event had to be postponed. These structures make your English smoother, more academic, and more natural in professional contexts. Next, let's talk about contrast and concession. How to express two opposite ideas clearly and gracefully. At the B1 level, you might say, I like it, but it's expensive. At the C2 level, you could say, although I like it, the price is too high. I like it. Nevertheless, I can't afford it right now. While I do enjoy it, I must admit it's far too costly. Let's practice some contrast sentences together. Repeat after me. Although the film was long, it was captivating from beginning to end. While she is young, she has already achieved incredible success. The weather was cold. Nevertheless, we decided to go hiking. These contrast structures help you express complex ideas naturally, just like native speakers. Now let's strengthen your fluency and rhythm again. Fluency is not about speed, it's about flow. At the B1 level, learners often pause between words. At C2, fluent speakers group words into chunks and use linking sounds. Let's try this sentence slowly, focusing on the rhythm. I went to the park yesterday afternoon, and I had a wonderful time walking among the trees. Now say it again, connecting the words smoothly. I went to the park yesterday afternoon, and had a wonderful time walking among the trees. That's the rhythm of fluent speech. It flows like music. To improve it, practice shadowing, listen to a native speaker, and repeat immediately, copying the rhythm and tone. Even 5 minutes a day will improve your natural speech dramatically. Now let's talk about word precision, choosing the exact word for each situation. At B1, learners often use general words like good, bad, or nice. But at C2, you must select the word that fits the emotion and context perfectly. For example, instead of bad, say terrible, awful, dreadful, unacceptable, or disappointing. Each one has a slightly different meaning. Awful sounds emotional, while unacceptable is more formal. Let's practice. The simple sentence. The service was bad. Advanced versions. The service was dreadful and ruined the whole experience. The service was unacceptable for a restaurant of that standard. The service was disappointing, considering how highly it had been recommended. Now you try. Pick a simple sentence you use often, maybe, the movie was good, and make 3 advanced versions with stronger vocabulary. Next, let's expand your use of adjectives and adverbs to describe things vividly. Instead of she runs fast, say she runs incredibly fast with remarkable energy. Instead of the city is beautiful, say the city is breathtakingly beautiful at night. Let's practice together. The performance was remarkably inspiring. He worked tirelessly to finish the project on time. The mountain view was absolutely stunning. These small upgrades make your English richer and more expressive. Now, let's explore the passive voice, another powerful structure for advanced learners. At the B1 level, you might say, "The company hired him." That's active voice. But in C2 English, you can also say, "He was hired by the company." Passive voice shifts focus to the result, not the person doing the action. Here are some examples. The decision was made after careful consideration. The bridge was built more than 100 years ago. The problem was solved through teamwork and patience. Using both active and passive structures flexibly is an important sign of fluency. Finally, let's end this part by combining everything we've learned so far. Advanced structure, contrast, rhythm, and vocabulary into a real-life example. Imagine someone asks you, "How do you feel about learning English?" A bet answer might be, "It's good. I like it." A C2 answer could be, "Learning English has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. It challenges me to think differently, connect with new people, and express myself in ways I never could before." Do you see how much more alive and confident that sounds? Every advanced structure you've practiced today, sentence emphasis, cause and effect, contrast, passive voice, and rhythm brings you closer to that natural fluency. In the next part, we'll focus on building complex sentences, using advanced connectors, and mastering narrative flow so your English sounds effortless in any situation. In the previous part, you learned how to create more expressive sentences and how to use contrast, emphasis, and persuasion naturally. Now let's take your fluency to the next level by mastering complex sentence structures, narrative flow, and advanced connectors that make your English sound professional, elegant, and effortless. This is where your English truly begins to sound like that of a native speaker. At the B1 level, most learners use short and simple sentences. I went home, I ate dinner, I watched TV. They are clear but disconnected. Advanced speakers, however, connect ideas smoothly to form a natural rhythm. After coming home, I made a quick dinner before relaxing in front of the TV. Or even, when I got home, I prepared a light dinner, and after eating, I enjoyed a quiet evening watching my favorite show. Each sentence flows into the next one. That's narrative connection linking your ideas together like beads on a string. Let's practice this step by step. I'll give you a few simple sentences. Try to combine them. I woke up late. I missed the bus. I was late for work. Now combine them. Because I woke up late, I missed the bus and ended up arriving late for work. Or, after oversleeping and missing the bus, I rushed to work, but still arrived later than usual. See how natural that sounds? When you use connectors and combine ideas, your English stops sounding robotic and starts sounding fluent. Let's look at advanced connectors that you can use to organize your thoughts, to add ideas. Moreover, in addition, furthermore, not only, but also, to contrast ideas, however, nevertheless, on the other hand, whereas although to show cause and effect, therefore as a result, consequently, thus. To give examples, for instance, such as to illustrate, namely, to summarize. In conclusion, overall, to sum up, all in all. Now, let's use these in real examples. Repeat after me. I studied hard for the test. However, I still found it challenging. The company has grown rapidly. Moreover, it has expanded into several new markets. The weather was terrible. Consequently, the event had to be canceled. To illustrate this point, let me share a personal experience. Each connector changes the tone and structure slightly, making your speaking and writing more cohesive and sophisticated. Now, let's practice variety in sentence openings. At the B1 level, many learners start every sentence the same way. I think, I like, I went. But fluent speakers vary their structure to create interest and flow. For example, instead of always saying, I think, try, from my perspective, it seems to me that, as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, let's practice. As far as I'm concerned, daily listening practice is essential for fluency. It seems to me that people often underestimate the power of consistent effort. From my perspective, learning English is not only a skill but also a gateway to understanding other cultures. Variety keeps your speech interesting and natural. Now let's move into sentence expansion, turning short ideas into detailed, advanced ones. Take this basic sentence. I'm learning English. Expand it. I'm currently learning English to improve my communication skills and feel more confident in international settings. Another version. I've been learning English for a few years now, and it's helped me connect with people from different backgrounds and cultures. Each sentence gives more context and emotion. The more details you add, the more alive your English becomes. Next, let's work on sentence combination, a key skill for advanced fluency. Instead of having 5 short sentences, merge them naturally. For example, simple. I love traveling. I visit new countries. I learn about cultures. I try new food. Advanced. I love traveling because it allows me to visit new countries, experience different cultures, and taste food I've never tried before. By connecting ideas, you create smooth, flowing English. Let's try another example. Simple. I watched a movie. It was interesting. The actors were good. The story was touching. Advanced. I watched an interesting movie with great acting and a touching story that stayed with me long after it ended. Practice combining your sentences this way whenever you speak or write. It trains your brain to think in English naturally. Now let's look at sentence reduction using shorter, more natural structures. Sometimes, advanced English isn't about making things longer. It's about making them cleaner. For example, instead of when I was a child, I used to play football every weekend. Say, as a child, I played football every weekend. Instead of because I didn't have time, I couldn't finish the project. Say, I didn't finish the project because I ran out of time. Shorter doesn't mean simpler. It means more natural and efficient. Next, let's talk about linking phrases and transitions. These help your speech sound connected and logical. Try using these phrases. To continue. Speaking of which, that reminds me, on top of that, interestingly, by the way, to conclude, all things considered, at the end of the day, to sum up ultimately, let's practice. Speaking of learning, have you ever tried studying with podcasts? That reminds me, I once had a teacher who made lessons incredibly fun. All things considered, practicing every day, even for 10 minutes, makes a huge difference. These expressions make your conversations sound effortless and interactive. Now let's work on parallel structure, which adds balance and rhythm to your sentences. Native speakers use this naturally, but it takes practice for learners. For example, she likes reading, writing, and painting parallel and balanced. Not, she likes reading to write and painting uneven and unnatural. Let's practice together. I enjoy listening to music, watching movies, and spending time with friends. He is hardworking, creative, and determined. The company aims to innovate quickly, expand globally, and maintain high standards. Parallel structure gives your English a natural musicality that listeners enjoy. Now, let's shift to advanced adverbial phrases that make your English sound professional and polished. These are small phrases that express time, reason, or manner more clearly. Here are some useful examples. In the long run, meaning over time. In the long run, consistent practice always pays off. For the time being, meaning temporarily. For the time being, I'm focusing on improving my pronunciation. In terms of, meaning concerning. In terms of vocabulary, I've made huge progress this year. As far as I know, meaning to my knowledge, as far as I know, the class starts next Monday. Practice these aloud. They sound very natural in everyday conversation and will instantly to make your English sound more advanced. Let's move to rhetorical flow, how to connect ideas naturally in longer conversations or speeches. The key is to move from one idea to another smoothly, without sounding forced. Here's an example of a paragraph with good flow. Learning English has completely changed my life. At first, it was frustrating because I struggled to express even simple ideas. However, with consistent practice, things started to improve. Gradually, I became more confident, and now I enjoy every opportunity to speak. It's amazing how much progress you can make when you stay patient and consistent. See how each sentence naturally leads into the next? That's narrative flow. Now, let's put all of this together with a short self-practice challenge. Choose a topic, maybe your daily routine, your favorite hobby, or an unforgettable trip. Tell the story in 3 or 4 long, connected sentences using at least 2 advanced connectors, 1 idiom, and 1 emotion word. For example, last summer I went on a trip that completely changed my perspective. Although the weather was unpredictable, I made unforgettable memories with my friends. We explored hidden places, shared laughter, and learned to appreciate the beauty of small moments. All in all, it was one of the most meaningful experiences I've ever had. That's the kind of natural, connected speech that defines fluency. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's connection. Fluency means expressing yourself clearly, confidently, and naturally. You're not just learning English, you're learning to think in English. In the next part, we'll explore how to use tone, emotion, and storytelling techniques to sound more engaging and confident in real conversations, just like a native speaker. In the last part, you learn how to create smooth, connected sentences and use advanced connectors to express yourself naturally. Now it's time to take your English to a more emotional and expressive level. In this part, we'll focus on tone, emotion, and storytelling techniques that help you sound confident, engaging, and truly fluent when speaking English. Fluency is not only about grammar or vocabulary. It's about how you make people feel when you speak. Native speakers don't just say words. They use intonation, pauses, rhythm, and emotion to communicate meaning. When you learn to control your tone, you gain the power to connect with your listener on a deeper level. Let's begin with intonation, the rise and fall of your voice when you speak. Intonation gives life to your sentences. Without it, even perfect grammar sounds flat and robotic. For example, say this sentence in a flat tone. I can't believe you did that. Now, say it again with surprise. I can't believe you did that. Hear the difference? The words are the same, but the emotion completely changes the meaning. Practice this with different emotions. Try saying, "That's amazing," excitement. "That's amazing," sarcasm. "That's amazing," confusion. Tone gives context to your message, helping the listener understand how you feel. Now let's talk about pausing, one of the most powerful tools of fluent speech. Many learners rush when speaking English because they're afraid of forgetting words. But fluent speakers often pause to give their words space to breathe. Pauses help you sound calm, confident, and clear. Try this example. When I first started learning English, I was nervous. I made mistakes. I forgot words. But slowly, I improved. Notice how the pauses make your speech sound natural and emotional. Let's practice a short exercise. Read this sentence with a calm tone and a short pause where it feels natural. Learning English isn't just about words. It's about confidence, connection, and curiosity. Repeat that line a few times until it flows easily. Next, let's focus on emphasis, stressing important words in your sentence to highlight meaning. For example, I didn't say he stole the money. Depending on which word you emphasize, the meaning changes. I didn't say he stole the money. Someone else said it. I didn't say he stole the money. I didn't say it at all. I didn't say he stole the money. Maybe I wrote it. I didn't say he stole the money. Someone else did. This technique is what makes your English expressive and dynamic. Try reading short sentences and shifting emphasis to see how it changes the meaning. Now let's talk about storytelling emotion. The ability to make your audience feel your story, not just understand it. Every great story has 3 parts: a beginning, a middle, and an end. The beginning introduces the situation, the middle builds emotion or tension, and the end delivers resolution or reflection. Let's take a simple example and turn it into a story. B1 version. I lost my phone. I was sad. Then I found it. C2 version. Last week, I lost my phone while I was rushing to catch the bus. I felt so frustrated because it had all my photos and contacts. But 2 days later, someone called me from my own number. They had found it on the bus and returned it. That small act of kindness completely made my day. See how emotion and detail make the story powerful? You can feel the frustration, the relief, and the gratitude. That's what storytelling fluency means. Now let's practice together. Think of a small experience. Maybe you helped someone or someone helped you. Tell the story in 3 or 4 sentences using emotion and detail. Remember to use pauses and tone naturally. For example, a few months ago, I saw an elderly man struggling to cross the street. Without thinking, I walked over and helped him. He smiled, thanked me, and said I reminded him of his grandson. That simple moment stayed with me. Your goal is not to sound perfect. Your goal is to sound real. Next, let's move to expressing emotions in English naturally. At B1, learners often say, I'm happy, I'm sad, or I'm angry. But native speakers use many shades of emotion to sound more genuine. For example, instead of I'm happy, you can say, I'm thrilled, very happy. I'm overjoyed, extremely happy. I'm on cloud 9. Idiom for feeling wonderful. I'm in high spirits, cheerful, positive mood. Instead of I'm sad, you can say I'm down. I feel blue. I'm heartbroken. I'm devastated. And instead of I'm angry, say I'm frustrated. I'm furious. I'm upset. I'm annoyed. Each expression gives your listener more precise information about how you feel. Let's practice. I was absolutely thrilled when I got the news. She was devastated after hearing about the loss. He felt frustrated because he had worked so hard but didn't succeed. The more emotional vocabulary you learn, the more authentic your English sounds. Now, let's practice expressing opinions emotionally. For example, instead of saying, I like it, you could say, I absolutely love it. It makes me feel alive. Or instead of, I don't like it, say, it just doesn't sit right with me. These small changes make you sound more expressive and relatable. Try a few examples. I can't stand how crowded the city gets during the holidays. I really enjoy quiet mornings with a cup of coffee. I love the feeling of finishing a difficult task. It's so satisfying. Notice how every sentence carries emotion. That's what connects you to your audience. Now let's discuss storytelling perspective. Using the right pronouns and tenses to guide your listener through your story. You can tell stories in first person, I, second person, you, or third person, he, she, they. For example, first person. I remember my first day at school. I was nervous, but excited. Second person. You know that feeling when you walk into a new place and everyone's looking at you? Third person. She stepped into the room, unsure if she belonged there. Each perspective creates a different emotional connection. Try mixing them when you practice. It will make your English more dynamic. Now let's talk about sensory storytelling, describing what you saw, heard, smelled, tasted, or felt. This technique helps listeners visualize your story vividly. Example: the air smelled of rain and fresh grass as I walked through the quiet park. I could hear the gentle rustle of leaves and the distant laughter of children playing. That sentence uses sight, sound, and smell to create an atmosphere. Practice using sensory details in your own stories. Now, let's work on confidence in delivery. Even if your grammar is perfect, your message loses power if you speak timidly. Confidence doesn't mean speaking loudly. It means speaking clearly with intention. Try this. Sit or stand tall. Take a deep breath and speak slowly. Use your hands naturally when you talk. Smile. These small gestures tell your brain, I'm comfortable. I belong here. Remember, confidence grows with action. Every time you speak, even if you make mistakes, you're training your brain to feel more at home in English. Here's a short motivational practice line for you. Every word I speak brings me closer to fluency. Repeat that to yourself every day before practicing. Let's end this part with a mini storytelling challenge. Think of a small emotional moment, maybe the last time you felt proud, grateful, or surprised. Tell that story using one idiom, one emotion word, one sensory detail, and natural tone and pauses. For example, last month, I gave my first presentation in English. At first, I was terrified. My hands were shaking, and my voice trembled. But as I kept speaking, I found my rhythm. When I finished, everyone clapped. I was over the moon. That's fluency. It's real, emotional, and human. In the next part, we'll focus on how to think in English naturally, respond instantly in conversation, and use advanced listening techniques to understand native speakers easily. By now, you've developed a strong sense of rhythm, tone, and emotional expression. You can tell stories, describe experiences vividly, and express your thoughts naturally. In this part, we'll focus on one of the most powerful shifts you can make on your journey from B1 to C2, thinking in English. Once you stop translating from your native language and start thinking directly in English, fluency becomes effortless. Let's start with a simple truth. Every fluent speaker, no matter where they began, reached fluency by immersing their mind in the language. They didn't wait for the perfect time. They started thinking, dreaming, and even talking to themselves in English daily. That's what you'll learn to do here, step by step. The first step is to stop translating. Translation slows you down and disconnects your brain from natural English rhythm. When you translate, your brain has to process each sentence twice, once in your language, once in English. Instead, train your brain to associate English words directly with meaning, not with translations. Here's how to practice. Pick any common object around you, a cup, a chair, a phone, and say its name in English in your mind. Cup, chair, phone. Don't think of your native word. Think of the image. You can even describe it. This cup is small. It's warm. It smells like coffee. You're not translating your thinking in English. Now, try a slightly harder exercise. When you do your daily activities, narrate them in English inside your mind. I'm washing my hands. The water feels cold. I'm opening the door. I'm walking outside. This trains your brain to think automatically without switching languages. At first, it may feel strange or slow, but after a few days, you'll notice your brain responding faster. Eventually, English will start to feel like a natural part of your thought process. Now let's move on to reaction time. How quickly you respond when someone speaks English to you. Many learners pause too long before answering because they're mentally translating. The secret is to prepare short, natural reaction phrases that you can use immediately. Here are some useful ones for everyday conversation. Really? That's interesting. Oh, I see what you mean. Exactly. I totally agree. I'm not sure about that. That's a good point. These short responses make your speech sound instant and natural. Practice saying them out loud until they become automatic. Next, let's focus on listening actively. A key to understanding native speakers easily. Listening is not just hearing words, it's understanding rhythm, tone, and intention. Native speakers often link words together, reduce sounds, or speak quickly. For example, they say gonna instead of going to, wanna instead of want to, and gotta instead of got to. At the B1 level, these sounds can be confusing. But once you recognize them as normal patterns, you'll start understanding naturally. Here's a short exercise. Listen to short clips from podcasts or videos where people speak naturally. Write down what you hear, not word for word, but the general idea. This trains your ear to focus on meaning, not just pronunciation. Then, listen again and shadow. That means repeat what they say immediately after, copying their tone and rhythm. Even if you can't catch every word, mimic the sound. This method, called shadowing, is one of the fastest ways to improve both listening and speaking fluency. Let's practice shadowing with a short example. Say this naturally. I've been learning English for a few years, and it's amazing how much progress I've made. Now try it faster, linking the sounds. I've been learning English for a few years, and it's amazing how much progress I've made. Hear how smooth it sounds? That's how native speakers connect words. They focus on flow, not separation. Now, let's talk about thinking speed. To speak fluently, you need to train your brain to form sentences quickly. One simple exercise is word chaining, connecting ideas without stopping. Start with one word, like morning, then add more ideas naturally. Morning. I wake up. I make coffee. I check my phone. I go for a walk. Then make it more advanced. Every morning, I wake up early, prepare a cup of coffee, check my messages, and enjoy a peaceful walk before the city gets busy. Each time you chain words together, you train your brain to keep thinking forward instead of stopping to translate. Let's try another quick fluency drill called expanding thoughts. Take a short phrase and build on it. Example, I'm tired. Expand it. I'm tired because I didn't sleep well. Expand again. I'm tired because I didn't sleep well last night. I stayed up finishing a project. Expand one more time. I'm exhausted today because I stayed up until 2 a.m. finishing a project that had to be submitted this morning. See how one idea can grow naturally into a complete thought? That's fluency in action. Now let's work on thinking flexibility, the ability to express the same idea in multiple ways. At the C2 level, you should be able to say the same thought with different structures or vocabulary. For example, I'm very hungry. I'm starving. I could eat a horse. Idiom. My stomach is growling. I haven't eaten all day. Each one expresses the same feeling in a different way. Practice doing this with your own sentences. Pick a simple idea, like I'm happy, and find 5 different ways to say it. This helps your brain build word associations that make speaking spontaneous. Next, let's explore mental visualization, another tool for thinking in English. When you read or hear English, don't translate, imagine it. If you hear, the girl is walking along the beach, picture it in your mind. The sand, the ocean, the sky. Visualization helps your brain store language as living experiences, not just words. Now let's discuss a common challenge fear of speaking fast enough. Many learners worry about keeping up with native speakers. But here's the truth. Fluency is not about speed. It's about flow. Even native speakers pause, repeat, and rephrase when they speak. What matters is not speaking fast, but speaking naturally. Here's a technique you can practice daily. Slow shadowing. Take a short audio clip, play it at normal speed, then repeat it more slowly while keeping the same rhythm and tone. This builds control and confidence. Let's practice with a short example. I didn't know what to say at first, but then I took a deep breath and answered confidently. Say it slowly, keeping natural rhythm and emotion. Then repeat it again at normal speed. Another powerful habit is daily micro-thinking in English. Instead of setting aside one big study session, try small moments throughout your day. When you wake up, describe how you feel. I'm still sleepy, but I'm ready to start my day. When you eat, describe the taste. This coffee is strong but smooth. When you go outside, the air feels cool and fresh. Each small moment builds the habit of thinking in English automatically. Now, let's combine everything into a quick fluency challenge. I'll give you a short prompt. You respond in English without pausing or translating. Ready? Prompt. You're late for work. Explain what happened. Possible answer. I woke up late because my alarm didn't go off. I rushed to get ready, but the traffic was terrible. I called my boss to explain, and thankfully she understood. That's natural storytelling, no translation, just reaction. Finally, let's talk about trusting yourself. Many learners underestimate how much English they already know because they're afraid of making mistakes. But remember, native speakers also make small mistakes all the time. Fluency comes from confidence, not perfection. Every time you speak or think in English, you're strengthening your brain's English circuits. So keep talking, even when you're unsure. Keep thinking, even when you forget a word. The more you use English naturally, the more your thoughts begin to live in it. Repeat this mantra. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to keep going. In the next part, we'll conclude this series by focusing on mastering advanced communication, how to express complex ideas clearly, hold long conversations, and sound completely natural at the C2 level. You've come a long way from learning vocabulary and structure to mastering rhythm, tone, and emotion. Every step has brought you closer to the level of true fluency. Now, in this final part, we'll bring everything together. You'll learn how to communicate complex ideas clearly, hold meaningful conversations naturally, and express yourself with confidence and authenticity at the C2 level. Fluency isn't just about speaking fast or knowing many words. It's about using English to think, connect, and create meaning. At this stage, your goal is not only to understand English, but to live in it, to let your ideas flow freely, without fear or hesitation. Let's start with clarity and complexity. The balance between sounding sophisticated and staying understandable. Many learners think advanced English means long, complicated sentences. But the truth is, advanced speakers use clarity as their superpower. They know when to be simple and when to be expressive. For example, instead of saying, "It has come to my attention that the situation requires urgent intervention," a fluent speaker might simply say, "I just realized we need to act quickly." Both are correct, but the second one sounds more natural in conversation. So remember, being advanced means being clear, not complicated. Let's practice this idea. Take a complex idea and express it naturally. Complex. It is of utmost importance that we prioritize our mental well-being in today's fast-paced society. Natural. It's really important to take care of our mental health because life today moves so fast. Both sound intelligent, but the second one feels more human, and fluency is about being human. Next, let's explore expressing complex opinions, one of the hallmarks of C2 communication. At the B1 level, learners might say, "I agree," or "I don't agree." At C2, you express your thoughts with depth, nuance, and emotional intelligence. For example, "I see where you're coming from, but I think there's another side to consider." That's an interesting point, though I'm not entirely convinced. I partly agree with that, especially when it comes to education. These responses sound natural, respectful, and articulate. They show understanding not just of English, but of conversation itself. Let's practice some advanced ways to agree and disagree. Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. That's true to an extent, but we should also consider, you might be right, but in my experience, I get your point, although I'd argue that each phrase helps you participate in real discussions confidently. Now, let's move to expressing complex emotions and abstract ideas, such as hope, regret, or personal growth. These are the moments that make your English sound natural and mature. Instead of, I'm sad I didn't do it, say, I wish I had done it. It's one of those things I still think about. Instead of I'm happy I tried, say, looking back, I'm grateful. I took that step, it taught me more than I expected. These sentences show reflection and emotion, both signs of true fluency. Let's do a short exercise. Finish these sentences in your own words. If I could go back in time, I would. The most valuable lesson I've learned is, when I think about the future, I feel speaking about life, lessons, and hopes helps you connect English with your personal world. Now let's look at holding long, natural conversations. Advanced conversations flow because speakers know how to ask follow-up questions and share opinions naturally. Here's a simple structure you can use. Respond to what the other person says. Add your opinion or experience. Ask a follow-up question. Example: A. I've started learning a new language recently. B. That's awesome. Which one? I remember how exciting it was when I began learning English. See how the conversation flows? It feels natural and alive. Practice using responses like, that reminds me of, I've experienced something similar. I completely understand what you mean. Why do you think that is? These small responses make you sound like a thoughtful, engaged listener. And that's what fluent communication is all about. Next, let's talk about expressing abstract and philosophical ideas, a true mark of C2 fluency. It's when you use English not just to describe facts, but to share thoughts about life, people, and the world. For example, success isn't about being perfect. It's about staying consistent even when things get hard. Happiness isn't found in things, it's found in moments. The more we listen, the more we understand others and ourselves. Sentences like these show that you're not only fluent in English, but fluent in human expression. Now let's refine your persuasive and confident communication. When you want to convince or inspire someone, use powerful words and clear structure. Here's an example. I truly believe that language learning changes lives. It opens minds, builds bridges, and reminds us that we're all connected through communication. Notice the rhythm, the repetition, and emotion make it memorable. Try saying it aloud with energy and confidence. You can use this pattern for any topic. I believe that idea, it reason 1, it reason 2, and it result. For example, I believe that reading daily transforms your mind. It helps you think deeply, express yourself better, and see the world from different perspectives. This kind of structure gives your English power and clarity. Now, let's explore one last essential part of advanced fluency: authenticity. At this level, you don't need to sound like anyone else. You need to sound like yourself, but in English. That means using your own rhythm, stories, humor, and feelings. Many learners try to copy native speakers perfectly, but real fluency means being comfortable with your own voice. Your accent, your personality, and your background make your English unique. And that's what makes it beautiful. Say this to yourself: my English is mine. It's not perfect, but it's powerful. Now let's talk about self-expression. When you reach fluency, you can express who you are, your dreams, values, and perspective in another language. That's something truly remarkable. For example, I started learning English because I wanted to understand the world better. Now I realize that through this language, I've also learned more about myself. That's the transformation language brings. So, how do you stay fluent? The secret is consistency and curiosity. Keep reading, listening, and speaking every day. Not because you have to, but because you want to. Make English part of your life. Watch movies, listen to podcasts, write your thoughts, and talk to people. Every small effort adds up. Here's a daily fluency routine you can follow. Listen to 10 minutes of natural English. Repeat or shadow what you hear. Speak or think about your day in English. Write one paragraph reflecting on something you learned. Do this consistently, and fluency will become second nature. Let's close this journey with a thought. Fluency is not a destination, it's a lifestyle. It's a daily decision to keep improving, to keep speaking, and to keep believing that you can express yourself fully in another language. Say this with me: I am confident. I am fluent. I am improving every single day. Take a deep breath. Feel proud of how far you've come. From simple sentences to expressing complex emotions and ideas, you've transformed your English and your mindset. This is not the end of your journey. It's just the beginning of a new chapter. One where English is not something you study, but something you live. Keep practicing. Keep growing. Keep speaking boldly, because your voice matters.